here is the karma reading. I'm still testing. I still don't know if I'm going to keep this reading. So if you like it, you have to say something, or I will save myself about 30 hours of work and kind of like just continue with my other monthlies. I really think like we are getting through quite a bit. I have modified the spread a little bit this time in order to be a little bit more efficient. So let's start with just like telling you that there are still some specials going on. If you guys want your reading, like you're going to get it sort of like one level up. So instead of like regular 2 to 3 weeks wait, I am kind of like dishing it out in a week, and if for some reason I'm a little bit late, you get a little bit more time added to it. And if you really want to rush, which before it was 7 days, now you get it in 3 days, and urgent was 3 days before, now pretty much you're getting within 24 hours. And if you're in North America, you're getting, if it's done between 2 p.m., then you're getting it the same day. Also guys, the X spread is on kind of like looks like permanent special, and one special that many of you already asked me about is really coming up, and is going to be 2019 annual scope. And for those of you who enjoy 2018 scope, please come on my website cattarot.ca and put yourself on a mailing list, because I'm going to be letting you know this pre-order price of $19.99 per sign or $39.99 for all signs is basically going to last only maybe 3 weeks, and is going to probably be enclosed in the monthly reading, which is kind of like coming in about a few days. And take advantage of it, because otherwise it's kind of like jumping up to $29.99 and $59.99. Okay, so let's go to where we have to be. You see, I was not that long. I'm reading this with Kipper, and I'm reading this with Cosmic Tarot. This is kind of like giving me a good combination. And I actually told you that I have sort of like simplified this, because I find this, I mean, you knew that the spread was like just like I'm in work in progress. So now I want to see what is dark, what is light in the situation. These are significators. They are the same in every reading, and they are simply just like sort of like the areas that I really want to explore. The reasons behind the situation, the guidance, and what are the karmic basically lessons that we actually need to learn in all of that. So let's start, guys. Hi Aquarians, and welcome to your twin flames for October and early November. Now this is a general reading, so of course, I mean, you need to check your ascendant and you need to check your moon sign, so that way you see kind of like different energy coming through and kind of like glue these puzzles together. And if you really want your reading, just contact me via cattarot.ca. So let's start. Let's see something that is like really coming from the darkness, and something that is kind of like brewing underneath the surface. And we have Wheel of Fortune and bad health. Now this is my karma card, so talking about twin flames, sometimes like a karmic soulmates, and that kind of like could be one of those people who have left a huge impact on us. And I don't care if you knew this person only for 1 hour or for like, I mean, half a century. This person is like really kind of like able to kind of like go in your soul. And I have a feeling that this person here was somebody who almost like had, I don't know if I would say parallel life, because that means like they have been doing something on the side, but sort of like what I mean, that if you have been experiencing something, they're almost experiencing the same thing at the same time, and good or bad, right? So like, let's say, you know, you are looking for a job, then even if they have a job, they would lose a job, they will have to look for a job, and vice versa. You find the job, they will find the job. It's kind of like really kind of like that weird connection. It almost like feels kind of intense. It's obviously the mirror. It's obviously something that is kind of like pushing toward yourself to look for. See, the Wheel of Fortune is like kind of like having this kind of like main elements around, like these fixed signs that they're holding this entire universe. But this is also talking about kind of like the cyclical nature, right? In the old medieval decks, this wheel was showing like, I mean, 4 kings, and the king on top would say, I reign, you know. And so like the one on the bottom would say, I don't have any rain, right? So this one, I'm going to rain and I have rained. So it's kind of like this kind of like different shifts of perspective that happen over here. What many people don't understand when you kind of like read this card, and that's why I call it a karma card, that this card brings big changes, right? And like that's why we have all this kind of like horoscope signs over here engraved in here. So it's also giving us opportunity to jump off the wheel and be in charge of our own destiny, sort of like, if you wish, be our own gods. But since this is happening and falling in this Luna segment here, and then I have the bad health here, it is really telling me that meeting somebody who have been so influential in life, something did not end well. Something kind of like end up with depression, or it could be that maybe family got in a way. It could be that somebody was unavailable in one form or another, and hence this kind of like wheel, it's kind of like continuing to spin. Maybe it was a time to go for a second run. It kind of like, when this happens, like it felt like so palatable that things will happen, and then it kind of like just like closed off. And that's kind of like the weirdest thing about like when this kind of like shows up, because it's really telling me that this kind of like switch that is supposed to happen, somebody was really stubborn about it, and this like whole thing happens, somebody falling on their own face, right? So let's see what basically can be known about the situation, the journey, and whoa, the tower, of course. So again, we see basically God destroying this tower, and all this kind of like flames are engulfing, two people are jumping off here, the crown is falling off. So like, I'm basically this is really talking to me about the tower is the symbol of status quo and sort of like entrenched ways of thinking and living. So sometimes like we are building security in lifestyle, and sort of like we become dogmatic. We kind of like receive, like, you know, like children, like we continuously grow and grow and grow, but then at some point we have the fence, and the fence is, this is it, I am good with this. But then spiritual world doesn't really want us to do that, because this is really talking about snobbishness and arrogance, and whether this is our own, right, or kind of like being exposed to people like that. And this is like kind of telling me that some kind of like insight is being blocked. We are a sign number 11 for a reason, and this year is very important for us, being a year number 11. We just finished month number 11, so it's extremely important, because right now we are pushing forward and really growing. So this is really telling me that there's like still some kind of trauma brewing underneath, right? And this really needs to collapse. It is really time to crush it. Whatever doesn't serve, whatever it was a status quo, maybe pain is our dear friend. Maybe we just got used to living with it, right? And accepting the circumstances. This is clearly saying, do not do this. Kind of like you really need to move forward, because like this is almost like a forced change. Something might happen that we are going to question ourselves in this particular period of time. It's about our approach to relationships, it's about approach to life. I really know this is the twin flames reading, but oh my gosh, this is like so complex that I really have to tell you, like, I mean, everything that I see, because like kind of like tarot has a mind of its own, right? Kind of like it does whatever it wants to do, right? So there's like this kind of like switch, like we have a 10 over here and we have a 10 over here. So sort of like it is kind of like a new cycle that is happening, and it is like basically a question posed to us. Do you really want to go one more round for whatever you have been getting, or not? So let's see kind of like some kind of like reasons that we need to take in account. Well, we have the house and we have 2 wands. Now that's an interesting card, right? So we see this like very kind of like strong man, a prime in of his life, and he's like standing really confidently over here, right? So it's definitely what I pick up over here is basically pride. His head is high, immaculate, kind of like dressing, even though I know leggings are a little bit weird fashionable choice, right? So there's like basically these two wands being basically planted over here. They're like not standing in as in a regular deck, right? Shining in the air. They're like actually, as you can see over here, kind of connecting. They're indicating opposites, male and female, light and dark, joy and sorrow, I don't know, exaltation and degradation. So there is like somebody who's standing in behind, completely unbiased, right? So it is sort of like understanding about needing to be kind of like in balance, kind of like this even temperament. And it was maybe something contradictory that was happening, and again, it could have been connected to somebody's residence. Two wands can also indicate kind of like indecision about the direction or new plans about a new direction. Interestingly, 2 and 2, both of them have this vibration about maybe building new firm solid grounds. Because these two cards are also contradictory. The Wheel of Fortune is kind of like going in a happy direction. The Tower is like tearing things off. And it's like really akin to, like, let's say you want to renovate a house. So do you really want to keep an old, you know, kitchen cabinets? You want to rip them out. Because this is really telling about something will be ripped out. And this is going to be something that has already been overly used, abused, and it serves no purpose. The only purpose that currently has is to remind us of some kind of like pain. So let's see the guidance here, and we have a 7 of Cups reversed and marriage. Somebody have given us no choice, because look at him. He is kind of like maybe even crouching in kind of like pain, I would say, because look at all the thoughts that are going through his head. He's like thinking about his, you know, perfect woman and dream woman, or kind of like this love touch, right? Where maybe she kind of like was not as responsive, or one partner hasn't been this responsive. Then we also talk about, and this kind of like looks like a bear dancing. It could be kind of like finances involved in this kind of like whole situation. When this card reverses, it is like telling me that somebody had no choice. I'm wondering if somebody here is married, was married, or had inability to move forward, and that would make lots of sense. Then maybe there was this like waiting, in a sense of waiting, and we Aquarians generally do not wait. We are loyal like no other sign is loyal. Fixed signs generally are loyal, but I think Aquarians really tops it all, and that kind of like explodes in our face, right? So please tell me if you guys really agree with me or not on this one, right? But like this really was going somewhere, and as I kind of like feel something has been just pulled out from us the very, very last moment, and not giving us any ability to do, but it could have involved somebody else's marriage. And that's why this 2 of Wands is really, really good. Maybe this house simply means us. We are kind of like coming to understanding that certain things had to kind of like be, and they are a certain way for a reason. Maybe this was like the kind of like dead end street, and we kind of like we were pulled away from repeating the cycle, because how much pain in life it needs to really happen before you go, no, you know what, maybe others will try to mistreat me, but I'm not going to try to mistreat myself. So let me see the karmic message for this, and it's a Prince of Pentacles, and that's actually lovely. And I'm not so sure if this is like, I really don't think this is Capricorn. I think that's probably Taurus. And then we have high honor. And this kind of like is a really good fit, because you can see the little crown over here. He's definitely a proud son. It looks like Charles Bronson to me, to be honest. And there is like a princess in this deck are knights, and this is like a friendship. And I really think there is like something that is kind of like really missing, and that we are maybe missing is friendship. Of course, hello Aquarians, like, I mean, you lose a lover, well, not a big deal, but you lose a friend, oh my god. Or this also could mean the karma is saying that we have accomplished our job with high honors over here, because look at this, like he is really kind of like really confident, and Taurus is like that very slow moving kind of like a force, kind of like forward, right? And there's like some kind of like idea that we have been going through the thick and thin. Maybe we haven't been the one who have been chosen by this person, but nonetheless we still feel like possibly some kind of like achievement that we did. Maybe kind of like we expanded our ability to feel emotionally, because generally we are aloof, and we kind of like try to just like keep going in order to kind of like avoid our emotions, right? So this card is like definitely a card of achievement and advancement and recognition, and this could be also that kind of like feeling the strength of a friendship. There is like definitely that essence of being kind of like held together. There is like a beginning of a new stage that this time on this karmic wheel is going to make us proud about ourselves. I mean, keep in mind that we also have like 3 sevens in this reading, and this is definitely signifying spirituality, and that was like something that looks like we have absorbed, and we have been able to realize that sometimes we move too fast for our own good. Sometimes we have to really take care of the number one, and sometimes we just have to be able to let go of certain things and not to obsess about it, because this looks like it has been lasting for a while. So my dear Aquarians, I would love to hear your comments. I would like to see what you think. And of course, you can order a reading from me from cattarot.ca. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to reading stuff from you. And until the next time,